In this course, we're going to go over how to use high-fidelity wireframes in web development workflow, with an emphasis on Beaver Kit, a wireframe kit available for Beaver Builder on WordPress. Many of us don't have a full team of UX designers, graphic designers, copywriters, marketing professionals. We wear all these hats ourselves, but it's still important to be organized and work efficiently, and that's all about having the right tools and workflows so you can utilize your time most efficiently and effectively. We are going to wireframe and stylize the page straight into WordPress using Beaver Kit. Using Beaver Kit can be a very efficient and effective, low-cost way to build out custom branded, high-performing landing pages for your WordPress sites. So that's what we're up to. Thanks so much for joining me, and let's get started. Wireframing is what we do to initiate the structure of a web page. So wireframes may be as primitive as a loosely sketched out layout on a scratch pad, and something like this would be considered low fidelity wireframing. So low fidelity wireframes have no colors, no text, they're just a jumping off point. High fidelity wireframes, on the other hand, are a means of taking your low fidelity designs to the next stage, or just starting from a more sophisticated stance, because high fidelity wireframes include more design and copy elements. Starting with a wireframe kit is an entry point to high fidelity wireframing. This is a way to save time and effort when creating a website because it bridges the gap between the initial conception of the structure and the development phase. Working with a kit helps us create super high fidelity wireframes. It's really just a great way to fast track the design process, which can mean better profit margins for the design service provider and a quicker launch for the product owners who are eagerly awaiting their marketing materials. So that's the gist of wireframing as it pertains to this course. In this lesson, we're going to wireframe straight into WordPress using Beaver Kit. Then we're going to add some style to our wireframe using a style guide that I've created. I've created a fake brand called Grace Note to frame this all around, along with some stock photos and stock graphics that I've recolored to match my style guide. And the premise is that this is the site of a content strategist that mostly works with women entrepreneurs. I've already done some prep work to get ready for this demo. I set up a demo site with Beaver Builder Page Builder, Beaver Builder Theme, Beaver Themer, Assistant Pro. I've created a header and a footer, and I've changed my heading and paragraph fonts to pop-ins in my theme settings. I'm using the Beaver Builder theme, and I will export the theme settings and all of these other assets and put them into an Assistant Pro library for you in case you'd like to work along with me. I've browsed through the Beaver Kit PDF appendix and picked out some saved rows for my page, for my wireframe. I'm going to add a link to that PDF here for you too. So I'm just going to quickly put together my wireframe here. And I'm not going to fill out all the copy and build this page out like it's a real production site. I just want to give you a concise little demo on how you can use Beaver Kit to quickly put together a nice little custom landing page. All right, now that we have this nice little high fidelity wireframe to work with, let's just stylize our page from the top to the bottom. I've already picked out an image for my hero header. So I can go into my row settings here and replace this placeholder image. I'm going to reduce the height of my hero header just a little bit. Well, not quite that much. I think that looks good. Now we're going to position our background image right top. Now we can move all this text here into a 2-column row to keep it from covering up her face. And get rid of this pre-heading. And stick all these guys into the left column here. And And I'm going to give a little bit of color to my H1 text. I have a color palette here in Assistant Pro. I'm just going to grab this blue color. I'm happy with how this looks, so let's just double check and make sure that we're looking good on every device size. Our H1 text is pretty scrunched up over here into this left column. And that looks good. And we can add a little bit of padding here to get her eyes peeking through over the H1. Now let's see what we can do about the photo doesn't look good here on the small device size, so maybe we can just reposition it. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to move on to the value row and basically just replace these icons with some images that I grabbed from a stock graphics set. And this was pretty straightforward. We don't need to make any responsive design changes here, so let's move on. Same thing with this next row. I'm just gonna pop in some stock graphics that I grabbed and recolored to match my brand. And I have them already here in my media browser. And we'll adjust the cropping here. I'm also gonna center this heading text. I'm gonna keep the paragraph left. I think it's really fun and productive to just experiment with things straight into Beaver Builder. So Beaver Kit lends itself really well to that. It can be easier to duplicate columns instead of restyling each column, but I'm just going to do each one this time since there's not a whole lot that needs to be done. I think I'd like these headings to be bold too. Now we can check the responsive design on this row too. Well, we should be good here though, because we didn't make too many changes. Looks good. Let's move on to our last row down here. This is our about row. Just gonna pop in my stock photo. And I'm going to put this in a circle. Just a few minor tweaks here. I'm just going to ignore this little problem with my footer for now, so I can move on to talk a little bit about copywriting. Something I like about using BeaverKit to start a site is the copywriting prompts. And since BeaverKit saved rows are so well organized, that makes it really easy to riff on your dev site and then pop your content into a Google Doc or something if that makes sense for you. Introducing Beaver Kit, a collection of over 100 responsive pre-built rows for Beaver Builder. It's easy to use because the content is neatly ordered in the way that you typically build out a landing page. So depending on what type of landing page you need, you can simply go down the list of selections and pick out what you need. And what's so great about this way of working is that you have guided choices. So you're not locked into a single template, but your options come sorted and organized to help you avoid choice overload. So you can quickly build out your wireframe, fill in the blanks, and that will give you more time to work on crafting your specialty branding and copywriting. Work smarter, not harder with Beaver Kit. I'm just going to go over Beaver Kit's bonus code snippets real quick. And what this allows you to do is quickly add margins above and or below your rows. Now, the margins that happen by default in Beaver Builder look real good when we have adjacent rows that are the same color. But when there are adjacent rows that are not the same color, like here is an example. In these instances, we don't quite get enough breathing room with the default settings. So one option is to get into your row settings and increase the margin under the Advanced tab. But I'm going to cancel that and show you how the same thing can be accomplished with a CSS class of top, which will add some margin to the top of your row, bottom, which will add margin to the bottom of your row, or top space bottom, which will add margin to the top and the bottom of your row. Adding the CSS to your site is going to depend on what theme you're using. So I'm using the Beaver Builder theme, which offers a CSS section in the customizer. So I'm just going to hit Command F in my browser to search for code, and that'll take me down to my code section. Now from the code editor of my snippet, I'm going to copy to clipboard. And of course, I've already added the CSS to my site, and that's why this is working for me already. And that's down here in the Beaver Builder theme under additional CSS. So paste that on in, hit publish. And that is how you use the handy dandy little code snippet provided with Beaver Kit.